Greetings, welcome, and good day. Happy Women's History Month. In honor of this being Women's History Month, we will be hearing from women who are black and also veterans. You are now tuned into the 20th episode of the Seasoned Vet Podcast. I'm so happy you could make it to another chapter of the show. This week we're joined by retired Coast Guard Chief Tonia Tippins. Chief Tippins joined the Coast Guard in 1988 as a young single mother of three. She served 26 years as a food service specialist. Her time enlisted did have its highlights, but it also proved to be one uphill battle after the next. So many uphill battles, in fact, that one of them is still ongoing in the form of a lawsuit. For every reason you can imagine, we did not go into the details of this lawsuit. In fact, we didn't even mention it. However, she did tell me that I could attach a link to the lawsuit in the bio of this post. Not only am I attaching the link, I also want you to be able to find other information on this very interesting lawsuit on your own. That's why I'm naming this episode Tippins versus United States. Friend! Good morning, friend. How's it going?
Good morning. It's going good here. I lost an hour of sleep, but I'm okay.
Oh, you too? Oh, by the way, happy daylight savings time.
You as well.
Thank you so much. Well. Thank you. I keep seeing little memes and whatnot on Twitter and Facebook. They keep saying, hey, couldn't daylight savings have happened at like 4 p.m. on a Monday? And I'm like, that's actually a great idea, by the way. Like, that would make the whole day better.
Exactly.
Doing this at 2 a.m., messing up my little schedule. All right, friend. If you don't mind my asking, what is your connection to the service?
Well, I joined the U.S. Coast Guard at a young age. I served 26 years.
Nice.
And I retired as E7. And that's my connection to the military.
Nice. All right. So, Chief. Wait, would you prefer I call you Chief or Tonia for this interview?
Tonia would be fine.
All right, Tonia. Was the Coast Guard your first choice of branch of service?
Actually, no. My first branch I was really wanted to join was the Marines.
Oh, wow.
But however, coming in as a single parent, the Marines, they gave me an option. They were like, oh, actually, I'll rewind that. When I told the Marines, they said, oh, we can't take you for another 30, 40. It was out. It was like 6 months. And I was like, no, I'm ready to go now. I'm ready.
Right.
So I reached out to the other branches. And, of course, the Navy was like, no, you have to give your kids up for an adoption.
What?
The Air Force, yes. The Air Force had another option that I wasn't too keen on. So, but the Marines couldn't take me right then and there. And then in the middle of the night, I saw a commercial about the Coast Guard. And I was like, oh, what is Coast Guard? I didn't know. I was like, Coast Guard, what is that? So I reached out to a recruiter. We talked, and he was like, oh, yes, we can get you in right now. Like, less than 30 days. I'm like, really? Because I really was ready to leave, get out of situations that I was in. So the Coast Guard was like, okay, we can get you in right now. And sure enough, it was less than 30 days. I had to jump through some hoops and loops to get things done. My kids are taken care and get them established with their grandparents. And less than 30 days, I was on a plane to New Jersey, boot camp. Man. And yeah, so that was my beginning.
Wow. First of all, the fact that the Navy would want you to put your children up for adoption is wild. I've never heard that, Chief.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Tonia, so are you the first woman in your family to join the military?
No. I had uncles, cousins, and actually out of my immediate family, my oldest brother joined the Army. And I remember him sending a picture of him in his uniform, and he was in Vietnam.
Oh, wow. Your brother served in Vietnam?
Yes.
Wow.
So.
But as far as the women in your family go,
No, I was the first.
you are.
I was the first and only, put it like this. Yes.
Oh, wow. No, somebody has to blaze the trail. So
Yes.
it has to be, I guess it has to be you for your family.
Yes. Yes.
Right on, right on. Tonia, how do you feel about your time in service? Does any particular time period stand out to you?
Well, how do I feel about being in service? At first, it was an adventure.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
was, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I'm in the military, enjoying life. Of course, financially, they helped me out with my kids because I
Mm-hmm.
was a single parent.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah, you were a
really,
single parent at a young age. And how many kids
yeah,
did you join the military with?
a three,
Three. Jesus.
three,
Yeah,
three
so
kids.
you needed a break.
Yes, yes. So I had some good times, a lot of good times. I'm not. I won't say they were all peaches and cream,
Mm-hmm.
but for the most part, I had a lot of good times. I met a lot of good people, connections, mentors, etc. But I really enjoyed my time in service. For those 26 years.
Nice. And you did retire as an E7, right?
Yes, I retired in 2014 as an E7.
Right on, right on. If you don't mind my asking, what was your rate while you were in the Coast Guard?
Back then, I was a SS, subsistence specialist.
All
Then it
right.
went on to food service specialist. Now it's culinary specialist. So
That's
I was in
right.
the food service industry.
Making sure everybody was fed right. I heard that. Sometimes the cooks get sent back to Petaluma. Did you get sent there more than once?
Actually, after graduating
Mm-hmm.
in it was '89 from cook school,
Mm-hmm.
I went back as a housing assistant for 1 year in 2000 and what was it 2004, and I was there for 1 year 2005, and in that position I was a help in the housing office. So
Okay.
um, it was a break from it was a break from cooking,
Yeah. Yeah.
and of course, and another expertise I can add to my all of my credentials. That
Mm-hmm.
was awesome. So I did go back to Petaluma that one time. Then for C schools, I
Mm-hmm.
went back to Petaluma for C schools. So
Right on.
yes,
If you don't mind my asking, where else did you spend a little time? Were you ever underway?
yes. Well, I was underway quite a few times. I started off in Milwaukee,
Oh boy.
then I went on and TDY on the U.S. Bark Eagle.
Oh
The
wow.
I served 7 months on there. As a matter of fact, it was the bicentennial cruise. That was way back. So I was there TDY for 7 months. I really enjoyed that. Oh God, it was a blast. We hit a lot of ports. We it was we had a lot of cadets on board training.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was just like an adventure. I really enjoyed that.
The Bark
Um,
Eagle. I'm sorry. For the listeners, the Bark Eagle is the officership for the Coast
yes,
Guard.
the training ship. Yeah, the training cutter. It's the training cutter.
Yeah.
So it was. I loved it. I loved it. That was my first time getting underway, and about the first 3 or 4 days, I was seasick. So other than that, I really enjoyed it, and met a lot of people. From there, I went back to Milwaukee
Mm-hmm.
for a short period. Then I mutual back then that's what they call it.
No, they still call it that.
Oh, they call it that.
I did it
With
too.
a young lady in New Orleans, Louisiana. So I went there. I was there for I think about 3 years, and
Nice.
then went to Miami where I met Senior Master Chief Stimley. Um, I was in Miami for about 2.5 years. Short stay. Then I advanced to second class. I got orders to the Boyd Tenor out of North Carolina, the
Nice.
Oh gosh, the ginseng back then. It's something else now, or they sold it off to someone else. I was there for, I think, 16 months.
Okay.
And then I was offered a position to Mayport, Florida, to the P Island.
Okay.
The 110. It's probably not called the P Island anymore. I was there for, I think, 18 months in P Island.
Mm-hmm.
So during that time, a situation happened where I got pregnant, and I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. So
you got surprised with the fourth pregnancy? Congratulations!
Right. So after that, I went on. I had to leave there early. I went to, New London, the academy. I was in a NWR position there.
Oh, nice.
And I stayed there, I think, for about 3 years. Then I wanted to, continue my stay in the New England area.
Okay.
So I transferred to a small boat station, New London, which was, right across the city. And I was there for, I think, about 3 years, 2 or 3 years. Then I got transferred from New London. I'm trying to think, that's where it sort of get a little iffy. I transferred, I think I went to Alaska.
Ooh, what part?
I was in Kodiak, I was in Sitka. Yeah, I spent time in Kodiak, spent time in Sitka. I'm trying to...
Yeah, I spent a little time in Kodiak myself.
I take that back. From New London, I went to back to Petaluma for that 1 year. And then after that, I requested to go to Kodiak because, of course, Alaska were hard to fill billets back then, and I'm pretty sure they still are.
Absolutely.
So I went to Kodiak, and from Kodiak, I was there for 3 years, and then I said, "Oh shoot, I will." There was a billet came open in here in Rhode Island for E6 billet, so I said, "Okay, I'll go back to Rhode Island." So I came back to Rhode Island, and of course, I was here for 1 year, and I found out that I was on the list to make E7.
Nice.
And so from Rhode Island, Newport, I went back to Alaska, and it was Sitka. So I was in Sitka for 4 years. Then after that, it was near retirement time, and I said, well, I didn't want to leave Alaska right then, so I requested to go back to Kodiak.
You requested to go to Kodiak?
Yes.
Chief, are you? I don't mean to question your mental capabilities here, but are you nuts?
See, the system back then, and I figured this out early in my career that, if you work with the detailer, you go a long way, you get what you want, And
you wanted Kodiak?
Yeah. Because I
don't think you would have even had to work with the detailer for that. I think they'd have just gave you that shit. If you didn't even have to be too much nice to them.
It's hard to fill billets.
Yeah.
Always requesting hard to fill billets, and they happen to be in Alaska. So I'm like, okay, I'll go. I went back to Kodiak. I was planning on being there for at least 3 years, but my tenure got cut short. Found out I had to retire, which was fine. Then I said, okay. So I stayed there to 14, from 13 to 14, and I retired out of Kodiak. And then I just moved right across the way to Anchorage, Alaska. So
okay.
And that was my military career.
Chief, you moved around a bit, and it seems to like all the coldest places in the world.
Oh yes, I'm from Georgia.
Yeah.
Once you take off all the layers and everything, you have that skin. You can't do anything. I could not take the humidity and the heat. I'm like, oh no. So, but yeah. So
look, you were actively choosing Alaska. They should have kept you in just for that.
Yes, yes. And Alaska has grown on me, so I love it. Eventually, I will go back there, but I have other things in mind right now that I'm trying to conquer.
Right
So
on. I hear you. That country girl left the country and never went back.
exactly, exactly. You can take the girl out the country, but you can't take the country out the
I
girl.
heard that. I heard that. Tonia, how do you think your experience in the Coast Guard could have been improved?
Well, oh my gosh.
Look, or could it have been improved? Maybe you had a dream career.
Well, coming up the ranks, I've sort of felt like a little bit of discrimination
Mm-hmm.
had came into play, and it was a few times where I had to challenge that,
Good.
challenge that the fact that I thought discrimination was coming into play.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I sort of feel like maybe if I did not challenge that, it probably would have been a little bit more easier for me. But I'm true to me.
Good.
I'm true to me. So,
And also,
yeah,
it would not have been easier because you later would have beat yourself up that you didn't speak up for yourself.
exactly,
So it wouldn't have been
exactly.
easier. You did the right thing.
So I spoke up, and I think from speaking up, it sort of interfered with me achieving higher ranks. So, but I had to, that was me. So if I wouldn't have spoken up,
Yeah.
I
Look,
like you said, I would have still been beating myself up about why,
yeah.
why didn't I do that? So, yeah.
And also, you're a trailblazer. In speaking up for yourself, you may have made it easier for another woman that looks like you that was coming along to either speak up for herself or just to have an easier time, period.
And I think, you know, meeting other African American females
Mm-hmm.
in the military, yeah, I would mentor them at times,
Nice.
and I would say, hey, sort of share with them a little bit what happened to me coming up in the ranks, and just challenging situations that I thought that needed to be challenged. And of course, they reached back to me now. It was like, oh God, we talk about it, and them experiencing some of the same things I had experienced, and they was like, if it wasn't for you,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what would have happened, how I would have dealt with that situation. So, yes, yeah.
I love it. Love it. I love that you were a mentor. Tanya, the next question up is, tell me about a time when you experienced something either good or bad that you know to be unique to you because you are a black woman. Something good or bad. Sometimes good things happen just because you're a black woman. Like sometimes people just go
Yeah.
easy on you.
Yeah, oh yes, I have
Sometimes.
this one, and it can go either way because I was
Right.
this captain, not captain. He was the commander. It could be just because he trusted me to get the job done,
Mm-hmm.
but of course I was the only African American female, yeah, in leadership there. So I had this task. This commander was retiring.
Mm-hmm.
He was retiring, and of course he was also the ancient albatross. I think that's what they call the BMs when they're that's yeah. So he wanted to he wanted a retirement. He said like Tanya.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't say Chief Tippins. He didn't say whatever. He was like Tanya. I'm retiring. He was retiring. He was passing the torch to ancient albatross, and it was a couple of other titles he had. And he said, I'm retiring. He kept saying, I'm retiring. And of course, he wanted to have a retirement. And I didn't know it was going to be for 400 people.
Jesus. How popular was this dude?
it was for 400 people, and he kept saying, he was like, he called me kid.
Oh,
He
Lord.
called me kid. Kid? He said, I remember he was like, kid?
Okay.
He said, I'm dependent on you. And it was funny. He was like, this is either going to make you or break you, or something like that.
Well,
but
you
I
had
didn't
to.
think anything negative of it. I would just laugh because he called me kid. He was a kid. And he just told me exactly what he wanted as like food preparation
Mm-hmm.
and how many people. And I said, oh my gosh, how am I going to accomplish this? It was only me, and I had two other third class. I had a second class and a third class. I was like, oh my gosh, how am I supposed to do this? So I think he by him calling me kid, he knew the job would be done, and it would be done well.
Wow.
And so that was, and I don't know if it was because because I was a black woman, or because he just knew I could get the job done. So anyway, to make a long story short, his event went on, and of course the commandant was invited to this event, and his entourage came and everything, and of course the event was a success. Everyone was fed. The venue was great. And on top of that, it was storming outside. It was raining.
Oh my
all
God.
of this, we had to get all of this done, feed 400 people in a timely manner, and not look bad.
Right.
So all of that was
Pressure.
accomplished. It was accomplished, and at the end, we were all just sort of standing around, just talking about it, and all of a sudden the commandant popped in the kitchen, in the galley. And everybody looked like, is this the commandant? All his entourage were there. And he came in, and he was just standing there talking to us like normal people. We were just standing looking. And I remember the commander of the event, who the event was for, he wanted a big steamship round. And steamship rounds are huge. They're huge. So we had the pan of juice, like the arju sitting on the table. And
Okay, I'm sorry. What's a stanchion round?
Huh?
What's a
Say again?
what?
It's a steamship round. It's
Steamship
a huge piece of beef.
Oh, okay.
Steamship round is a huge piece of beef.
Oh, okay. He
to
wanted
be
the side of the
served.
cow. All right.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
of course, I had to get that cooked. It took about 10 hours or so.
Christ.
So anyway.
Oh my God, you were up 24 hours straight prepping for this.
Yes. So the commandant.
Tonya, my feet hurt just thinking about this. Go ahead.
He came in, and he was just talking to us like normal people. We all is this the commandant? We were all in shock. So he came in, and piece of bread sitting around. So he took the piece of bread, and he sort of dipped it in the arju in the pan,
Mm-hmm.
and he started eating and started talking to us, and we were like, really? Did he just do that? The commandant? And it was a fun time. But anyway, getting back to what I'm supposed to be answering.
No, I enjoyed the story. No, I enjoyed this.
He said, at the end, he said, Tonya, he said, kid. That's what he said. Kid, you pulled it off. And I couldn't do anything but laugh. And he said, you did an awesome job. He said, you pulled it off, kid. You pulled it off. But yeah, so I think it could have been because I don't think it because I was a black female. It's because he knew.
Wait, was this a white man?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
This is a white man calling you kid?
I know. I could pull it off. So that was that. So that was.
And
that
you
was
did. You did.
Yeah, a memorable time in my career.
Look, you cooked half a cow for 400 people.
Yes, right.
That's quite the feat. Right. Right on.
Yeah.
All right, Tonia, not to bring the mood down, but when you brought complaints to your chain of command, do you feel like you were heard?
For the majority of the time in my career, no.
Okay.
I don't think I had to force the hand, you would say. I
Mm-hmm.
had to force the hand because I wasn't gonna just take no for an answer.
Okay.
I wanted to know why the answer is no, or why you want push the issue, the complaint up the chain, that my complaint up the chain. So many a times I it was forced. I had to force them to like look into the issue or the complaint, that my complaint, put it like that.
Right.
And
Right.
and it like I say, it was few times I had to do that.
Mm-hmm.
For the majority of my career, I don't think I was taken seriously enough.
Mm-hmm.
So, but when I sort of forced the hand, then that's when they had taken me serious. It's like, oh, this person really is forcing us to do our job.
Right.
That's
Right.
that's how I put it. You know, it
Because
was a few
sometimes you can't
times.
just leave the ball in their court. Sometimes you have to go back and check on it.
Exactly, and don't just lay down and accept no for an answer, or this is it. No, if you are uneased about the answer you were given,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you you um
You have the right for a second
yeah,
opinion.
you
You
have
have the
the
right
right to.
to a follow up. Yeah.
Exactly. So it was a couple times in my career that happened, but other times there were situations where, oh, okay, you know, I can take that for an answer, but I had done my research.
Mm-hmm.
I had done all of that beforehand. And I was like, okay, I said okay, so.
All right. Some sometimes you really do have to force their hands. Sometimes you just have to give such compelling evidence that the only answer is, okay, well, let's see things Tanya's way. Let's look into things a little bit further. And
Exactly, exactly.
but it's really exhausting that you even
Yes,
have to advocate so hard for yourself in the first place when you know these
exactly.
people could just do their jobs the right way the first time. They really bank. Sometimes people really bank on you not knowing that you have the right to a follow up, not knowing that you have the right to a second opinion. Sometimes people really bank on you just being exhausted from advocating for yourself.
Exactly, exactly,
Hmm.
exactly. So,
Yeah, but I'm a black woman. I'm used to being exhausted, so let's do this.
you know what I would say? I said, I am conditioned to the way I am, because thank you, forefathers. They went through. They were, that's what
Wait,
happened back in the day.
wait,
You know,
forefathers or ancestors? 'Cause
oh,
those have two different
ancestors.
meanings.
I'm sorry, ancestors.
Okay,
That
I'm
played
not thinking the
a lot.
forefathers. They the reason we in this mess.
Yeah, I'm sorry, the ancestors, and they went through a lot. And you know what? That's in me. That's instilled in me.
I heard
That's
that.
instilled to withstand a lot of adversity. That's instilled in me. It's not
Yes,
what you go through; it's how you're gonna react going through it.
right.
So
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. Sorry about the ancestors. Sorry, ancestors. Um, so,
Oh man. All right, Tanya. At the beginning of your career, when you needed guidance and mentorship, were those resources provided, or did you have to seek them out?
at the beginning of my career,
Mm-hmm.
I would say I had to, for the most part, I had to See, no, I wouldn't say that because it was people. I would say it was people in higher places looking out. When I wasn't looking out for myself, they were looking out for me.
Good.
So resources, they came to me and this particular time I was in New Orleans, and I was going through some troubled times, and it was I think he was a senior chief at the time, and he was I think he was in New Orleans, and situation I got myself into, it was, I
Wait,
was
did
like,
you
oh
get
my
yourself?
God.
Wait, Chief,
Yeah.
did you get yourself into this situation? Because you
Yeah,
just
a
said the person you said
situation.
was higher ranking than you was a senior chief, and if you were in New Orleans, I know you wasn't a chief at the time. You probably wasn't even an
No,
E6.
it, okay. Let me rephrase that.
I,
a
I think you're being a little hard on
situation,
yourself.
a situation. I stood up for myself.
Okay, there we
I
go.
stood up for myself, and of course, being a third class at the time, I stood up for myself against a chief, and
Okay.
push come to shove, it was another chief. It was a senior chief in the I think he was in the EEO department, or anyway.
Uh-oh.
He got wind of my situation. He
Mm-hmm.
got wind of my situation, and after going through the process and all of that, he was at my defense, and that's how I ended up in Miami. But because he said, Tonia, he said, how would you like to go to Miami to get me? Because he wanted to remove me out of this situation.
Right, right.
So he said, how would you like to go to Miami? And I was like, fine, I'll go to Miami. And he was senior chief. After all the paperwork was done, I had gotten orders to Miami.
Okay.
And he told me, he said, hey, I think this is going to be a good move for you to get you out of the situation you're in. And I thought about it. After thinking about it, I was like, you know what? I'm mouthy. I always been mouthy. So I said, he looked out for me. And I guess he knew I was young. He was African American as well.
All right.
Young.
A brother looking out for you. I love it.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
So yeah, that early in my career, that was a challenging time that I sort of got out of, and went on to do other great things. So
You did.
yeah.
Just as a side note, Tanya, isn't it weird that they're always so willing to relocate the victim and never as quick to punish the perpetrator in these situations?
It's so
Like, y'all
funny.
could have just punished the dude. Like, y'all could have just done something adverse to this guy who caused this situation in the first place. But I gotta
You know
move to
what?
Miami because this dude is an asshole.
Yes, and it wasn't. You know what? It was what he was doing. He was doing it to other individuals before me, and it's so fun. After I relocated to Miami, probably about a year and a half later, I received a phone call. I was like, "Who is this person?" I was like, "Someone called me from New Orleans
Mm-hmm.
to tell me what they finally punished this E7.
Good. What they do.
They finally made him accountable, held him accountable for all the things he had done." And I was like,
It's about
a year
time.
and a half later,
Right.
someone that I did not know, they found me and called me to tell me what happened to this E7, and they made him in the end he was forced to retire.
I still don't agree with this as a punishment. Like, he was forced to retire. That means he still got his benefits.
Exactly.
Being forced to retire after you do something shitty is the same as being forced to retire just for higher tenure. You get the same results. Like,
Yes.
he still got all his benefits. He should have just been kicked out.
Yes. I mean,
We do
it
not
was so
believe in kicking
much.
out trash.
Yeah. And I'm like, wow, I'm like, wow, this, yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened. But thank God the senior chief um, was there looking out for me when, new coming, brand new coming in the military, young girl, from a southern state. It's
Single
like,
mother
oh
from
my
Georgia.
God. Yeah, and it's he was there looking out for me. So um, I
Good.
still appreciate him for doing that
Good.
because yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, Tanya. On a lighter note, have you been able to make friends with any other Black lady veterans? Are you purposeful about building your village?
Oh yes.
Amen.
Oh yes. A
Amen.
village is very important. Very important.
Don't I know
Even
it?
before coming in the military, my mom was a single parent, and it was a lot of us. Put it like that. Um, and Aunt Mary, Miss Carrie, Miss Mamie down the street. That was the village. That was the village.
I heard that.
So, so it's very important. And yes, I have met other African American females that helped me build my village.
I heard
She,
that.
yeah. So, Angel, she's Williamson. She retired as a Master Chief.
Okay.
Angela Wilson, she retired as a Senior Chief.
All right.
I'm trying to think.
Oh, I might know one that you know. You know Lisa Spotwood?
Yeah, I know of Lisa.
Oh,
I know of Lisa.
y'all never
But
met?
I don't think I ever met her in person.
Yo.
But I know of her, and I'm over like stories. We know people. We know people that know people that know people.
Yeah.
So our circle is, we know by our circle.
Yeah, y'all both cooks.
Yes. As a matter of fact, when I went to leadership school, Petaluma again, I met. I think at the time it was her ex-husband. He was in leadership school with me.
Okay.
So, but I don't think I ever met Lisa in person, but just by others and like conversations with other people, other veterans.
But look, you know plenty of other Black lady veterans. That's what's up. All right.
I'm trying to think the ones that I only had a hand. I could count them on one hand. A handful of African American, veterans that we were more like sisters than anything. We still come in contact. We still talk today regularly. Those two, and I would say Angel and Angie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, and Naya, of course. Naya, it's those
Nice.
three.
I love
it's
it.
Like more like sisters. Like we're sisters.
I love
it. So
hey, after a while, you have to be sisters.
Exactly.
If y'all have been friends more than 10 years, y'all are sisters. Y'all are siblings. I say like after 5 years, y'all might be cousins. After 10 years, y'all definitely sisters.
Yes. It's Angel, the Angel.
Mm-hmm.
She during her career, she would call on me, and when she was going through some things, we would talk about it. We would talk about it, and she valued my opinion.
Of course.
She did. She valued Angie. She would call me about situations, valuing my opinion. Naya still calls me. She was like, Tonya, I want to run something by you. I want to, she,
Good.
oh my gosh,
Good.
so many things. And Naya calls me today. Let me ask you this, and she values my opinion.
Good.
She was like, I know you would know because you've been in all kind of situations. I know you would know. And then the best part about that, after the fact, she'll call and share the results with me. So, yeah. So
Good.
those three are. Oh my God, those my sisters.
I love it.
Those are my sisters.
I love it. I love it. I'm glad you have that support system. That's very important. I love it.
Yeah.
Tonia, tell me a war story. A story where you were tested, but you came out on top. Now, I need you to be the hero in this story, all right?
Okay.
Can you think?
Okay. Oh yes.
I,
Okay.
about to say, I know you can think of some.
A war story that a war story where I was tested and I came out on top.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think it was a time when war story. I was on the 180 board tender out of North Carolina.
Okay.
Oh wow. Um. I'm trying to think.
I mean, if
Can we come back?
I was about to
Can
say,
we
yeah,
come
we
back
can
to that
absolutely
one?
come back to it. Yeah.
Yeah, we can come back to that one because it's a couple of them. I'm trying to get it together, but yeah, we'll come back to that one.
It's all good. Look, all right, Chief. Do you feel that the way you were treated improved with rank?
Somewhat, yes,
Somewhat.
absolutely, absolutely. But being in leadership in upper ranks, I did have some challenging times, but I think I was able to address the issues and situations better because of, you know, previous experiences or just being more knowledgeable about different situations.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, yes, I think, yes. Yeah.
So
The treatment was, the treatment did improve as I went up the ranks. Yes.
I felt a little hesitation in that. Here's what I think. The treatment did improve, but only so much because you're still a black woman no matter what rank you are.
Exactly. Yes. And those, yes, you know.
That's just a reality. Like, I get it.
Which is true. You're absolutely right. You just didn't put that in my head, in my mouth. But yes, it improved. It improved.
It got
somewhat.
a little bit better.
A little better. It got a little bit better. Put it like that.
I feel you. I feel you, Chief.
So,
Has there ever been a tough situation that you were in where another sister helped you out? Or a situation where you were able to help out another sister?
yes.
Okay.
I would say Angel.
Okay.
Angel.
Okay.
She went through. She was experiencing some challenging time in her career.
Okay.
In her career, and she called me and we talked about what was going on, and she wanted to throw in the towel. She was an E8 at the time.
Wow.
She wanted to just throw in the towel. And me being E7, and I said, Angel, I said, no, you will not. And I told her, I said, you will not throw in the towel.
All right.
And she was like, Tanya, this is really heavy on me. Her situation was really heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her, I said, no, you will not. And we talked, and I told her, you know, we shared some avenues, some things that she can ponder on, and if she was going through some troubling times at that time in her career, and we talked, and I told her, I said, you're not going to throw in the towel. She was like, Tanya, I've been fighting this fight, and we talked about some avenues she could take and everything. So to make a long story short, she continued fighting.
Good.
She continued fighting.
Good.
And I would say probably a year later, I was sitting in my car in Sitka. I remember this, sitting in my car in Sitka, just came back from lunch, and I received a phone call from Angel. And she said, Tanya, I won my case.
Nice. Yes.
She said, Tanya, I won my case.
Yes.
And the first thing the only thing I could do is sit in my car and cry.
I love it.
I cried. We cried together. We laughed together. And she was like, oh my God. She always said, Tanya, if it wasn't for you, pushing me and pressing me and encouraging me, I don't know what I would have done. So I don't want to tell her story because
No.
she'll probably tell you her story. But that was a great time in both our lives that I was able to help her out and for her situation, and it paid off. It paid off in a good way. So
I love it, Chief. I love it.
yeah.
That's just
So,
proof that you need good homegirls. You need village. You need someone in your corner.
exactly.
You need some,
Exactly.
and it really helps if it's someone who can relate to you, someone who looks like you and has possibly been
Hmm.
through something similar. So it very much helps to have just good homegirls, good village in your corner, because sometimes you just need that push.
Exactly. Exactly. Um,
And
and
whatever she was
situation.
facing, I'm glad she won it. She deserved it. I don't know her, but I know she deserved that win.
And another, not to cut you off, another, when I got myself into trouble at one point, but
You keep saying you got yourself in trouble. I don't believe none of
yeah,
it. I don't believe it.
because I was very mouthy. I was very
Were you
mouthy
mouthy or were
in
you
my
standing up for yourself?
mouthy and standing up for myself.
Look,
But other people don't look at it as you standing up for yourself.
I was about to say now,
Just,
Tanya, if your attitude, if your actions had been put in the body of a white man, would it be considered mouthy, or would he be considered a good leader?
a good leader.
There you go. All right, so you wasn't mouthy. You was just
A good leader.
right. You
So
wasn't being mouthy.
yeah, Angie I had to call on Angie at one time. A situation that was there, and she helped me out of that situation, and I I thanked her for it.
Good.
So, and because I was ready to sort of throw in the towel as well, in that situation that I was in, and she said, "No, you're not. You're gonna press forward." And she gave me a lot of guidance,
Good.
and I went on to continue my career and retire. So. Both of those young ladies, they were, oh my gosh, those are my sisters. Those are my sisters. So,
And
but
I
yeah,
love that they have you, and I love that you have them. This is a win for all three of y'all.
exactly. So, but yeah, but other than that,
All right, Chief. Can you tell me something you wish you had known before joining the service?
I wish I had known that a lot of racism, discrimination
Yes, yes.
was in there.
Yes.
Because coming from Georgia and having experienced racism
Mm-hmm.
and discrimination and all of that, and that was the reason I left Georgia, because of what experiencing discrimination, racism, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't want, I don't want to be in this. I
Right.
don't. So I'm thinking the military. Oh, the military is going to be great. And
They took them same
so
people from your hometown and recruited them too.
exactly. So if I had known, if I had known that, I don't think I would have joined. You
Really?
know, but once I joined and I had to experience that, and I was like, I'm not gonna let that tear me down. I'm not gonna allow someone else to determine what I would be doing the rest of my life.
Okay.
And I always said that, and I was like, no, I think I can get through this. I can press through this. So,
Right
um,
on.
but with that, if I had known all of that was in embedded in the military,
Yeah, it's in the culture. It's
yeah,
normalized.
I don't think I would have joined. I would have taken my mom's advice. You will get your education. That was my mom. That my mom said you will get that education. So I probably would have. Oh,
Ah, is that the dog?
yeah. Sorry about that.
It's all good. It's all good.
I think I would have taken the education route before the military. So,
Very,
yes.
no, it's very, very understandable. Yeah, racism seems to be the what's it called in the heartbeat of the military.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
uh,
So,
can you tell me about a time you learned a lesson you weren't ready to learn?
a time when I learned the lesson. Oh,
It may have been the very beginning of your career when you learned that there
um,
was so much racism in the Coast Guard.
yes.
But don't let me put words in your mouth though. Like, what was your answer going to be?
Um, as a matter of fact, it was at that unit where I had to feed 400 people.
Okay.
Um, I was in a position. I was a food service officer,
Mm-hmm.
and oh my gosh, and I had to work for my supervisor was a BM chief.
Mm-hmm.
He was, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm here at the unit. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, paperwork wise, all good, everything, and I had to do my march evaluation. It was evaluation time, and I'm just assuming, well, this BM chief knows everything that I have to do. My reports have to go to him to get approved, blah blah blah. And so I just assumed, oh, he knows what I'm doing. He knows da 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 da. And he wanted some feedback for my evaluation,
Mm-hmm.
and I took it for granted. I was like, I don't need to get him feedback because he already, all my reports have to be signed by him, everything, blah blah blah. And evaluation time, he gave me some mediocre marks. He gave me some
Mm-mm.
this. Oh, I was so upset.
Wait,
But I
so
couldn't.
the chief that was evaluating you, this wasn't the one that asked you to feed 400 people with
No, no, no,
with
no,
half a
no,
cow.
no.
All right.
That was the commanding officer. He was a warrant officer.
Okay.
So that's the one called me kid. That was the warrant officer.
All right.
So the BMC,
Mm-hmm.
and I received my evaluation, and I was so upset. But I couldn't be upset with no one but myself because I didn't give him anything. I didn't give him my input.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I assumed he knew exactly what I was doing. All my reports were,
Yeah.
being signed by him. I'm making sure the service members being fed, the menus, everything. And I was so upset, and I had to think, Tonia, you did that to yourself because you should have given him something to go by, even though
he's watching you do your job and he knows
yeah,
what you're capable of.
exactly.
He's going to play
And
stupid when it comes to evaluations. So you have to make
so
it to where he can't possibly be stupid.
exactly. So I rebutted my marks. That's the first time ever in life.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh my gosh. I went home. First I went to the warrant officer. I said, I want to appeal these marks.
Right on.
It was, so, and he said, I had that right. I had like so many days to appeal them. So I went home that night, and the next day, I had about 3 or 4 pages of, of, of evidence
Mm-hmm.
that I was doing my job.
Mm-hmm.
So I went in and we sat down, and of course we went over everything. Mark, it was one, I don't know how many, but it was everything that I rebutted, everything on the evaluation I rebutted. And to make a long story short, when I walked out,
Yes.
my marks were they were hired. They were
Nice. Good.
yeah.
Good.
All of them.
Good.
I think all except one. It was probably about 11 or 12. I don't know how many, but all except one.
Okay.
And
No, it is a lot of categories that you get evaluated on.
yes,
You're right.
yes. And I went in there, I thought I was in court. I thought I was in court. I went in there and I was like, oh my gosh. And at the end, the same warrant officer, he looked at me again. He said, "Kid, you did good." That was it. I don't know why he just called. He just called me kid. I didn't think anything bad, anything. I just accepted it. And he was like, "Kid, you did good." And that was a lesson. A hard lesson I had to learn.
Right.
But I learned it. I came out on top. And after then, I knew to submit evidence that I'm doing my job. So that was a lesson, a hard lesson I learned. I came out on top, and that followed me throughout my career. That followed me.
I bet your evaluations from then on out were stacked with evidence for.
Oh yes. I had if I had received like subpar marks, they had
Look,
they had to.
It only takes one time for you to learn your lesson.
Yes.
Just as a side story, Chief, I also had to rebuttal my marks one time, but I'm glad you knew to do it just because you knew to do it. Somebody pushed me into rebuttaling my marks. I was feeling real bullied, but one of my chiefs, actually she's a warrant officer now, so she's done real good, forced me. She was like, "You really need to argue these if you don't agree with them." It's like, well, man, I don't really want it. She's like, you need to go ahead and argue these if you don't agree with them. She's basically saying, get the F up. Stop. Yes. In so many words, she didn't want to just out and say, you need to up and speak up for yourself.
Exactly.
But you knew to do that without being nudged so hard. I needed a hard push, and I got it. And just like you, I got all my marks raised. But I had to argue all the way up until the I think it was the D9 commander or commandant or something like that. Mm-hmm. Some dude in an office that's not on base with the star on his chest.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm.
I had to argue all the way up that high, but they all got raised, and a lot of other good things came out of that situation too. But
so that was one of many, but that's the more memorable one. You don't take things for granted.
Right. You had the best evaluations from then on out. Your marks probably looked amazing from then on out.
Yes, because I had to force the hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Chief, do you feel that you are a better leader than the ones you grew up under?
Oh, absolutely.
Heck yeah.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes. Yes. I had to earn. I put it like this: being African American, nothing is given to you.
Right.
You had to earn, and you had to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Hard lessons, soft lessons. Oh yes. So yes, I yes.
Right on. All right. Chief, are there any sisters in service that inspire you? That's past, present. It doesn't matter their branch, their rank, whatever. If she's a black lady in uniform or has ever been in uniform, do any of these ladies inspire you? And if so, who?
Absolutely. My sisters.
Your top three?
Angie, Naya. And it was a young lady. She retired from the Air Force. Mm-hmm. Shoni. I don't know her last name, but Shoni.
Okay.
Shoni, she inspired me as well.
Nice.
She retired some few years ago. I'm trying to think. Right now, in the past, I'm thinking it's only few far in between. Handful of people, friends. I would call friends and ex-coworkers that
Right on. Let me ask you this, Chief. Did you ever get to work under a black woman while you were in service?
I'm trying to think. Probably not. I'm trying to think. Kodiak. Nope. No.
Wow.
I don't. As I can recall, I don't think so.
That's wild. You were always the highest ranking black lady in your shop? That's crazy.
Yeah. Males, yes. I have worked for under African American males.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was any females at all. Wow.
Hey, look, it happens. Look, that's that's nothing you can help.
I tell you what, yes. Angel.
You worked under her?
Angel. She, when I went in the housing officer in Petaluma, I take that back, I'm sorry. Angel, I worked for her for a year. That year, she was the housing officer and I was the assistant.
Nice.
And I worked for her for that year. And Angel was another one I met in Miami way back. we're in Miami, so we had history. And
nice.
I did work for her for a year. Yeah. And she was awesome. She was awesome then, still awesome. Awesome now. Yeah. And she and in that time in 2004, she she mentored me. She mentored me as well, even though,
Good.
yeah.
Good. Our
bond grew stronger.
Yeah, of course.
It grew stronger. And yeah, I think she was the only one I ever worked for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. Okay. Chief, let's say you were just starting your life on your own right now, and you were presented with the chance to join the service for the first time. Knowing what you know now, would you still join?
Absolutely not. My first choice, absolutely not. I would no. That's a no, and that's a hard no.
Chief, you a real one.
That's a hard no. No.
Chief, you a real one. You a real one. I love you.
And my daughter, when she graduated high school, the recruiters were blowing my phone up. They were blowing me up. And of course, I didn't lie anything. I wasn't dishonest. My daughter played basketball, and she had she had to have surgery on both her knees in high school, before graduation. And I told them, I was like, hey, my daughter has 2 busted knees. And I didn't hear from them anymore.
Okay. Right on.
But no, I would not have joined.
Right.
I know now.
Chief, you are a real one. I love you. Not just a no, a hard no. No to me and no to my bloodline too.
Yes, absolutely. No.
All right, that actually, Chief, that answers the next question. I'm gonna feel foolish for asking, but I'm gonna ask it I gotta say it anyways because it's a part of the lineup. The question is, if you have a daughter or any young impressionable black girl in your life that you cared about and she was considering a life in the military, would you try talking her out of joining? We just answered that one.
Okay, my daughter, my daughter. Yes, I would. Yeah, no for my daughter. But however, I mean, from the previous question you asked earlier in the interview, my son joined the military. He was in there for a little while, the Marines, and I had a nephew was in the Navy. I had a nephew in the Air Force. I had a nephew that was in the Army, and of course, my niece is still serving in the Air Force. With 20, she just went over her 20-year mark.
All right.
She was in before she could even ask me my opinion. So the only advice I gave her, you just do what's best for you. You're in now, and yes. So
you said, "May the force be with you." The Air Force.
Yes. So she she calls me time to time with, with advice. With questions. It's like, Auntie, how would you, whatever, deal with this? And yeah, she's another one. She'll call on me. She'll value my opinion. So, but she's still serving.
All
20 years, just went over 20 years. So,
all right.
Yes.
Well, I wish her the softest landing in her retirement whenever she decides to do that. Yeah.
Yes, I do too.
Chief, recruitment and retention is down across all the branches and with all the demographics. Black women are not excluded from that. This was true even before the pandemic. Why do you think black women are so disinterested in joining the military? I feel like this was answered already too, but for the sake of
But you know what? And I would say in the last probably 6 months, just looking on Facebook, I have seen some African American young ladies that they're like so gun ho. They are, yeah. But some of them, put it like this, going back further, they don't stay the course of retirement.
Yeah.
They just go in and do their 4 years or whatever and get out.
Yeah.
And now I'm seeing quite a few young ladies now joining the military. And I only see that because I'm on Facebook. If they had asked me my opinion before they joined, I would have told them. But yeah. So, but it's I'm not saying a lot, but some are going that route to the military.
Actually, I may end up having to change that question here in the coming months, maybe even years, because the military numbers actually are picking up a little bit, and I think that's because of the economy. It's so bad out there, people are now just joining the military because it's a stable job, and
yes.
Yeah, because sometimes in some cases, it can keep up with the cost of living, and the cost of living is going up. Inflation is wild. So, okay. Chief, if you were conducting this interview from where I'm sitting, what question would you have asked you that I did not ask you?
Oh my gosh. Your questions were very great. They were good. I don't think I would deviate from your questions. I wouldn't. These are very great questions and easy to answer. Some of them.
Some of them.
If you have had almost 30 years 10 years out the military, you have to think back. Wait a minute. Yeah. So, but no, I wouldn't deviate from these questions at all. But the one we just talked about you say you might change that one, and that's still a good question. Still a good question. So nothing. I wouldn't add. I wouldn't take away. I would just stick to the questions.
Okay.
And yes.
Thanks, Chief. I have one more question coming up, but before I ask it, let me circle back to the war story question. Did you have a war story you want to share with us?
A war story. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I can just leave it out altogether. It's all good.
Yes. Kind of war stories. No, I don't think. I'm really trying to think hard on that one. I had one penciled in about my time on the 180.
Mm-hmm.
My war story is experiencing racism and discrimination. And on the 180, I had just made second class, and I had attended the paperwork school in Petaluma. So I was all up and up on the paperwork as second class, blah, blah, blah. And I went to the 180. Of course, it was a white male that was my supervisor. He was my supervisor. So for some reason, he just had it out for me. And I didn't think I gave him a reason.
You didn't. You just existed.
Treat me badly. So I was in the position of the second class, doing the paperwork, the ordering, et cetera, et cetera. And it was a young lady, she white blonde,
Mm-hmm.
and she had just graduated A school.
Mm-hmm.
This was unthought of. Put someone coming out of A school really don't know the foundation parts of. You get in the galley, you cook, you know what I'm saying. You
Mm-hmm.
prove yourself, blah blah blah. Then you get put in other positions. But that wasn't the case with me. I had all the knowledge and experience,
Mm-hmm.
and when she got there, it was shortly. He replaced her as the second class doing the ordering and the inventory, all of that, and put me back in the galley cooking.
Wow.
He put me back. He put me back in the galley cooking, and I'm like, where did this come from?
Right.
And I thought I was doing a great job with the paperwork and everything, because
You absolutely were.
I had the knowledge. So
you were doing everything right. Racism is just stupid.
Yes. So I said, okay, all right. I was disgruntled about it, but I didn't let my job in the position he put me in back in the galley. I didn't let that take a adverse effect on how I would treat the members of the boat and as cooking wise.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna let my experience I wouldn't let what he did to me affect how I presented to the crew. And so that went on for about 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, he asked me after food wasn't getting ordered appropriately, and we didn't have enough food when we were on the way, and everything was just like going downhill.
Of course.
And I'm like, oh, okay. He asked me to train her.
Mm-mm.
And I said, I don't, I'm cooking in the galley. I'm cooking every day. We on the way. You in the galley cooking. And it was about 6 months. He came to me. He said, Tonya, he was like, Tonya, I'm going to put you back in after she screwed up all the paperwork.
Of course.
And the ordering. He wanted me to go back. He put me back in that position. And, of course, I had to straighten out all the mess that she made.
And boy, did she make a mess fresh out of A school.
Made a mess. And that was that right there. Oh, my gosh, I was really upset. But after I was like, you know what, Tonya, get in there and do what you got to do. And that's what I did. I had to straighten out the paperwork. I had to do all that. But it was shortly after that, the detailer called me. And he said, would you like to go to another boat, cutter? I said, absolutely.
Right away. Today. Yes, please.
I said, absolutely. I was like, I don't care. Absolutely. And I was out of there so fast.
Good.
I was out of there so fast. So that was a war story right there.
Christ.
Yeah. So.
Good. Oh my goodness. So once again, racism made a mess that a black woman had to clean up. And it was so dumb. Like, he could have just left you where you were and let that new girl learn how to cook, because that's what she was supposed to be doing anyways. He was trying to go extra cushy, extra soft on her because she's a little white girl and she was fresh out of A school, and he's wanted to give her the soft job and make you do all the hard stuff in spite of the fact that you had the knowledge base for this job. And a few months later, here you are cleaning up the mess that they made. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. So.
And that's why retention is so low.
Mm-hmm. And that's why
sometimes we just get tired of cleaning up other people's messes.
That's why my offspring would not join the military. The son, okay, like I said, I had a son that went to the Marines. Okay, that's fine. But my daughter, no. No. A hard no.
I do not blame you.
So.
All right. Chief, is there anything you would like to leave our audience with? Any parting words?
I just, you know what? Thank you for giving me an opportunity to share my experience, my stories, good or bad. Yes, I thank you for that, and
thank you for being here.
It's and the village. Yes, you need a village. You need a village. To in this day and time, and then prior to this, because you can't do it alone. No. You cannot do it alone. And, so, but I think that's it. That's
Thank you so much, Chief. Thank you for taking the time for this interview. Thank you for sharing your story, your experience. You have a very important story, and I'm glad that you deemed me worthy enough to hear it. And it was also nice chatting it up with your dog.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna kill her.
So it was great talking to you, and to our audience, bye now. And that concludes this episode of the Seasoned Vet Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning into the show, and a special thank you to Chief Tonia Tippins for sharing her story and taking the time to make this interview possible. Now, if you are or know a Black Lady veteran who would like to sit down with me and be a part of the show, please email me at seasonedvetpodcast@gmail.com, or you can call or text message me at 713-254-0970. You can also find, follow, and inbox me, the Seasoned Vet, across all platforms of social media. At Real Seasoned Vet on Twitter, at Seasoned Vet Podcast on Instagram, at Seasoned Vet Podcast on TikTok, at Seasoned Vet on YouTube, Seasoned Vet on Facebook. Y'all, I'm so out there, I'm even on Spoutable. That's at the Seasoned Vet on Spoutable. Now, if you like what you heard, please like it, share it, rate it, and leave a good review on whatever platform you're listening to this on. And if you're hearing this episode on the day that it drops, then you're listening to it on March 11th, 2024. On this day in 1959, Lorraine Hansberry's stage play, A Raisin in the Sun, debuted at the Ethel Barrymore Theater in New York City. The play ran for 530 performances, becoming the longest-running play written by an African American. It was also the first Broadway play written and directed by an African American woman. Today is also the 74th birthday of 10-time Grammy Award-winning musician, Bobby McFerrin. You may know Bobby McFerrin from his 1988 smash hit, Don't Worry, Be Happy. Thank you again for tuning in, and until next time, ball out.